by their fruit. 8507. In this world it is hard to shrug off the siren call of the enemy. The call tempts and beckons constantly. We are surrounded by the message that if we do not have what the neighbor has, plus a little more, we are somehow poor. When you walk with God, you can never be poor. Somehow, your needs will be met. Truly poor are those whose hearts are empty of love and the compassion God nurtures inside of us. There are many who buy into the message that if they have this thing or that product, they will be loved. They think a certain perfume or cologne will guarantee plenty of bedmates. They believe the advertisement that will be filling that hole in their lives. I know that the first altruistic act of a child is very important. They do it out of innocence. If you have a boo-boo, they run and get a bandage. If you look at their cookie, they offer you the soggy, uneaten portion. Then to wash it down the crumble-filled glass of milk. This is the seed of God's love bursting with new growth. Encourage these acts of love with a part of yourself. Give as freely to them as they have given to you. You are watering the tree of God when you give of yourself. What you teach will go with them out into the world. There are also many who claim to be Christian who seem untouched by Jesus' teachings. To have God in your life naturally leads to a giving heart. It seeps out of your pores. It radiates in your smile. If this is not the case, you might want to reevaluate your relationship to God and the world around you. You will find it if you open your heart. Many people have felt that there was no God to help them. They see the lack of compassion and love demonstrated by people who claim to be Christians. They drive people away from God because they do not practice what they preach. It can be very confusing to someone who is not a Christian. They are seeking guidance in how to find God to fill their hearts. When they do not see the love in you, they will turn away. Reconcile the Gospel of Thomas, verse 45 says, "Grapes cannot be harvested from brambles. Figs cannot be gathered from thistles, for they do not produce fruit. A good person brings out good from their storehouse, their hearts. An evil person brings out evil from their storehouse, evil filling their heart. What is in a heart always slips out of their mouth." Galatians 6:22 and 23 says, "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law." Matthew 7:8 through 20 and Luke 6:43 through 45 both say, "A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, and a bad tree cannot bear good fruit. Every tree that does not bear good fruit will be cut down and thrown into the fire. Thus by their fruit you will know them." When you work with God, you spread something precious around the world. It is love and every good thing that radiates like a blinding light from that love. Even if you travel a hard road, you can help people by demonstrating God's love to others. I have often found that the people poorest in material goods have the most caring spirits. When I have been in need, it has often been the poor in resources who have given me solace from the bounty of their hearts. I have been given food they needed. I have been offered blankets from their own beds. I have been given comfort and love that many reserve only for close friends and family. I have been given clothing from their own bodies to protect me. I have been shielded and protected from enemies and bullies determined to do me harm. These are children of God. These are people who share the fruit of the massive tree that grows within them. You will know the children of God by their fruit. I have seen people with wealth give great amount of money to help people. The thing that concerns me is how they do it. Many who give great amounts are looking for a payback. I'm not talking about money returns necessarily. I knew a minister at a church I attended who was not Christian in her attitudes. The church had a food pantry. This minister ran this ministry. One day I saw how she treated the homeless that came asking for help. She treated them like lepers and acted like a Pharisee. She gave them no choice of food, even though the congregation stocked it to the brim with diverse products. Some were allergic to the food she chose for them. She would not make an exchange when they explained the problem. She never touched them. She bagged their food without talking or acknowledging them. She made them well aware of the great things she was doing for them. She made them feel like they were less than worthy, and asked her why. I asked her why she was not more charitable. She told me that they should be grateful for what they got. They could trade on the streets for what they wanted. It was not her problem. She then told me to mind my own business. I told her all God's children were my business. Needless to say, I did not attend that church much longer. They often do it like British Petroleum after the explosion here in Texas City. In this case, it was a public relations campaign to distract people from their lack of concern about safety rules and their enforcement that killed many people. I can understand why they wanted to make the public think twice about the multiple lawsuits coming after the federal report laid the blame squarely on their shoulders. I heard the explosion at the oil distilling plant. It was massive. I was over 15 miles from it. Some people do it so that they can have a good itemized deduction on their taxes. They figure out how much they need to give to avoid paying more tax, then give that amount to charity. I can understand why people do not want to give too much in taxes. Voting for people who spend our tax money wisely might be a better way to address this issue. I have seen people do or give to churches I have attended. Many times it is obvious that the giving was meant to get applause. There was one church that even had people stand up during services if they gave anything so that they could be recognized as a donor or volunteer. I did some volunteer stuff at a church where I attended. One day, for reasons I will never understand, I was asked to stand up for applause. I was appalled. They knew I desired anonymity. They knew it made me very uncomfortable to get credit for something I did for God, not for them specifically. I ran from the room. Later, when I was asked why I did not want credit, I told them that I could have done the volunteering invisibly. I would have. They had a blank look on their face after I said it. They never understood. It is possible that God was whispering that maybe I should be the role model, not the attention seekers. To bring me to their level, they wanted to tempt me with the recognition I avoided. I am familiar with the tactics of the enemy. Again, I can understand why some people need the encouragement to continue doing the good that is in their hearts. I hope someday they will get the hugs from God that they need, and not need them from other people. On the questionnaire was a question about helping someone and not letting them know who you are. It was partly meant to get you thinking about why I would ask. I think this is one of the higher ways of expressing God's love through you to another person. To give without getting credit for doing it. To give from the bountiful fruit of your heart because it is overflowing with goodwill for others. It is never too late to stick your toe into the waters of God's pool. Start with a toe and inch in a little at a time if you need to. For you are brave souls. Dive in, the water is fine. If you start giving as a habit, try to fine-tune it to the moment. Money is just one way to give. Giving of yourself is showing what tree you sprang from. Let the world know God through the fruit of your actions. God bless the whole world, no exceptions. Angel Eliza.